It's the Brad and John Show.
It is the Brad and John Show. Today's date is November 11th. This is the C block, the Charlie block, which means we do it right around 7:45. John, I have a major problem. I can't get my stupid phone to connect again. God, I hate this. God, I hate when Apple does these updates and it just screws everything up. I can't. Let me try one more thing here. You there, John?
I'm here. Yep.
Okay. Here. You know, first off, I'm not a Bluetooth fan, and I go into, and it says, connection unsuccessful. iPhone can no longer connect to blah, blah, blah. Forget this device and pair it again. No. Well, no, hold on a minute. Let me try it just one time. I'll forget it, and then I'll do this. I'll put this into connect mode and see if we can get it here. If not, I may have to call her back and say if it's trees before I try and we get this rescheduled. Hold on just a minute. Other devices. You know, I used to have a direct connect on this phone where I could plug it into our console here. And then when I updated my phone, because Apple is real persnickety about what you can connect.
Yeah, hey, it happens. Maybe you could have the conversation with, another option is to have the conversation with Catherine. You have ways to record it, and maybe we could replay it in C Block on Thursday, Brad, just thinking out loud here.
Hold on a minute. It's coming up. Let me see if I can get this to work. Okay. It's showing it's discoverable. We'll do this. Is now paired to your phone. Oh, okay. Hold it. It got it. Okay, hold on. Okay, so let me call her back. I just had to reconnect it. God, I hate this crap. And let me do this. Pull up the phone. Hit redial on this. Pull this up. Put this on the air. Do that. Do this. And,
good morning.
Hey, Catherine, I'm sorry we had a little technical problem here, but you know what? I'm a guy who can actually fix things. How's that? Am I the kind of guy that should be around every household? You know what I'm saying?
That is very impressive. We don't really have that around here. Don't tell my husband I said that, but
Catherine, I have been a longtime fan of you. I've followed your career from the Missouri House. And how long ago has that been you've been the speaker?
It's right at 20 years.
Wow.
So time flies when you're having fun.
And then you became Eastern District. You were the federal prosecutor. Is that the proper term?
Yeah. U.S. Attorney.
U.S. Attorney. Yep. And then you went into private practice, and now you're back with the state of Missouri as the AG.
It's crazy, isn't it?
Time flies when you're having fun. Now, you replaced Andrew Bailey. And, Catherine, I'll be out front with you that John Combest and I have, well, at least I do, I have sort of an inside joke that when Andrew Bailey was the Attorney General, he spent more time on the radio stations, some of the people that worked at the radio stations. He was very, very popular on the air. And I'm glad that we've connected with you because of the fact that it was, I guess, 2 weeks ago when John Combest went off on one of his very interesting, this is what I would do if I were Catherine Hanaway. He said, you should become very visible on the talk show circuit, on the conservative radio stations. And guess what? Here you are, right?
I must have listened. I definitely listened to the, is it Catherine or is it Taylor Swift piece?
I don't think he did that one. Yes, that was the where he did the whole week of that. So lots of good things. You've come in, you've hit the ground running, and all sorts of crazy stuff to talk about. Probably, what's the number one issue you're dealing with right now?
Violent crime. That is the number one issue, and there's lots of layers to it. Everything from sort of the homelessness problem and the amount of crime in downtown St. Louis to hemp and all these, kratom and all these different products like OH7 that are being sold technically under a federal loophole for industrial hemp, but they're just, they're intoxicating marijuana, and we need to go after it.
Now, you mentioned downtown. I saw that it was just yesterday where Peabody Cole, who's been in downtown St. Louis for 70 years, is moving out into West County. And one of the reasons they gave was because of the problem. And I think it was in the Post-Dispatch article I was reading. They showed a picture of a shattered window on the Peabody building downtown that was hit by gunfire. What happened to downtown, Catherine? I can remember when there was a time I'd loved going downtown. I haven't been downtown probably about a year because even though I'm the guy that's not too scared off by the criminals, it's a little bit scary down there, isn't it?
It is a little bit scary. Our office is in the old post office downtown, And I spend most of my time in Jeff City, but I do spend time here in the St. Louis office. And almost every day when I'm there, I see homeless people surrounding the building. When I'm not there, Judge Gertner of the Court of Appeals is sure to keep me posted with photos of what's happening down there. And when I talk to the police and the business community about what happened in downtown St. Louis, you know, it's a combination of factors. It's businesses here in the St. Louis region that got bought by out-of-state interests and then moved out. That sort of started the ball rolling. Then, you know, retail changed. So we once had a mall and great department stores downtown. Those are gone. As those, you know, storefronts started to open up, there was less policing downtown because, you know, the people and the businesses had moved elsewhere. When there was less policing, then crime started to rise. As crime rose, more and more businesses moved out, and it's just been an ever-escalating cycle that has become like a flywheel.
Now, you're aware of what's going on in Memphis where Trump went in there, and I heard some statistics just the other day about how the crime rate has dramatically decreased. Do you think that could be a good thing for the city of St. Louis, for the feds to come in and do some things in downtown St. Louis?
I do think it could be a really important factor in us turning it around. And I do think this is a special moment that we have with a relatively new governor who is super strong on crime, a new mayor, a new U.S. attorney, myself, all working together. We're all working very closely. And Senator Schmidt got 25 new FBI agents assigned to our region. And so I think if everybody uses all the tools at their disposal, we can start to get crime cleared out of downtown St. Louis. The next step will be that the people got to come back. People got to come back to ball games, and businesses got to come back. I mean, one of the problems with getting people back downtown is the lack of activity. Now, I will say, the guy who owns Union Station, his name is Bob O'Loughlin, and his son Steve, who runs his company, worked very hard last year during the Missouri legislative session to create an entertainment district for downtown St. Louis. Their vision is that the first way we get people back is by hosting big sporting events, concerts, all kinds of things, and all of the professional sports teams participated in that effort to create this entertainment district. And what it does is allow for enhanced policing in that area. So there's been some real private leadership, too.
And he's done amazing, him and his son have done amazing things with Union Station. I mean, to the point where it was sad to see it sort of be a super popular venue. You remember probably 20 years ago, the Fudge Factory, the whole bit, and then it sort of went into, I guess, sort of disappeared. And, well, not disappeared, but things just didn't go very well there. Now he's brought it way back with the rides and everything and all the aquarium and all this stuff. And the hotel's beautiful. You've been in that hotel before. You know what I'm talking about? Just a beautiful place.
Yeah, absolutely beautiful place, and he really had a vision to make it a family-friendly spot. But he spends in the millions of dollars every year on private security so that is a very safe place once you get onto that. And it is now like a complex with the train rides and the Ferris wheel, and I understand they're putting in some more rides, and they have an aquarium. But you know, families wouldn't come down there if they didn't think it was safe. And so once you're on that campus, you are safe, but because he's paying for the policing. And we've got to enhance policing downtown so the private sector doesn't have to carry all of that burden.
Catherine Hanaway is our guest. She's the Attorney General for the state of Missouri. What's the number one case you're working on right now?
Well, obviously the sheriff is a really important case. That goes to trial next week. We're doing a lot on public corruption. We also have the case against Sam Page. But probably the number one case that we're working on right now is the redistricting case. As you know, the Missouri General Assembly, at the request of President Trump, redrew the congressional districts here in Missouri. And we've been sued now 3 times. We decided it was time to go on offense. So when they tried to file a referendum to put it on the ballot to undo what the legislature did. We actually sued in federal court because we don't think it's constitutional to go back to the ballot. The U.S. Constitution gives the General Assembly, the people's elected representatives, the sole authority to draw those districts. So we think we're going to win the suits where the state has been sued, and then we think we've got a really good shot to win this suit in federal court to keep it from going to the ballot. But that is taking a lot of time and energy from the office right now.
And the other thing you mentioned, the sheriff situation. I tell people out of the St. Louis area that are friends of mine, and I say, guess what? The sheriff of the city of St. Louis is in jail. And they go, what? Is that a bizarre case or what? You know what I'm saying? I mean,
it is bizarre in the extreme. I mean, the amount of corrupt activity that he has engaged in just since January, and that it's taken us this long to get him removed. And remember, it's still only temporary, even though he's sitting in a jail cell hundreds of miles from St. Louis, and clearly cannot carry out his duties. He's only temporarily removed. So hopefully at trial next week, we'll convince the judge that he should be permanently removed, and St. Louis can put this chapter in its history books.
And you're spearheading that prosecution then, correct?
The lead on this is a guy named Greg Goodwin. I'm very involved day to day. I will be a part of the trial, but we have great people in the office, and there's so many cases that we got to have great experts on the ones where they know the very most.
Catherine,
so, I'm a leader, but I'm not the one doing the work.
Catherine, you know what the solution to that whole problem is, don't you?
Tell me.
The judge should just pull out a pair of golden dice and ask the sheriff to tell him what the dice are going to be. And if he guesses, he gets off. If he doesn't guess correctly, he goes to the pokey. What do you think, Catherine? Is that a good way to do it?
I mean, it seems only fair. You know, it's the very tool he was using.
Right, exactly.
It's just unbelievable.
Yes.
Some of the stuff. If we started going down the list.
Yep, crazy stuff. Catherine, I appreciate you coming on the air this morning. Sorry we had some technical issues, but you know what? It's 2025, and when you deal with computers, you know the rest of that equation. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Hey, Brad, thank you very much. It's really a pleasure. I hope to be on again often, and really appreciate the opportunity.
Thank you. My pleasure. Catherine Hanaway, what do you think, John?
What a great conversation. I think we learned that we will actually just roll the golden dice.
I'm glad. You know what? I was thinking to myself, I hope she knows about that, and obviously
of course she does. Of course Catherine knows about that, Brad.
You and I have talked about that before. For those of you who don't know the story, John, tell the golden dice story.
Well, as I understand it, there was a gentleman whose fate was in the hands of Mr. Montgomery.
An employee,
and Mr.
right?
Montgomery brought him into the office, and as legend goes, but even as Montgomery admits, Montgomery had a pair of golden dice. Yeah. I don't know where you would obtain them. And he told the gentleman that if it rolled a certain way, the guy could keep his job. And if the dice rolled a certain way, he could not keep his job, right?
Unbelievable. By the way, he got those from the Trump store. That's where the golden dice came from. But
I didn't know that. Wow.
But once again, the interesting thing was the guy came out and said this. And you go like, okay, do we believe this guy? Did this really happen? You know, and then Montgomery sort of admits it. Remember when he started saying, yeah, I got that pair of golden dice, right? I was going like, okay.
Yeah. Hey, let's get back to the Catherine thing real quick, Brad. My impression of it, and I'm curious to hear yours, is that, you mentioned that you gave Andrew Bailey a hard time because he was frequently on the circuit and he was frequently talking about a lot of national issues. And I think that did get him a lot of attention. And it certainly was one of the reasons why he earned a spot in Washington, D.C. in the Trump administration. And that said, Catherine talks about stuff that you can see and feel every day. So in our region, you mentioned, Brad, you're not scared to go anywhere. And you haven't been downtown in like a year. I try to, with the exception of a Cardinal game or a very rare other occurrence, I don't want to go downtown. So Catherine talks about people being unsafe downtown. She talks about other things that we can see and relate to, like the sale of these 7-OH, this brand new fentanyl, these compounds, whether it's 7-OH or whether it's unregulated marijuana products, like these are stuff that people can see when they go pay for their gas. You know, like these are real everyday issues. They're not some abstract, let's fight Obamacare by being one of 37 attorneys general to sign on to a federal lawsuit. You get what I'm saying?
Oh, exactly. Plus, she has an office downtown. It's interesting. She mentioned that one of the old,
Gary Gertner.
Right. Oh, in the old post office building, they also have the appeals division for Eastern District, state of Missouri. And the judges sent her pictures of the goings on around the old post office. I mean, how weird is that? I mean, and you know, my big thing is I'm not necessarily afraid for my physical being. What I'm and I'll say this up front, I drive an old car and I don't have comprehensive insurance on it. So if somebody smashes out my window, guess who pays for it? I do. You know?
Yeah, of course you do.
So that's my concern about going downtown. I just don't want my car broken into. And the sad thing about that is, you know, they smash the window. They're not going to find anything of value in my car. Matter of fact, they'll probably maybe clean some stuff out because it's dirty inside. But that's my whole issue. And I heard these statistics yesterday about the thing in Memphis, and they are mind-numbing as far as now, sometimes you got to wonder, okay, the doctor statistics to make Trump look good, but they're talking about some areas of crime are down 70% since the feds have come into Memphis. And I'm thinking to myself, okay, Memphis and St. Louis have certain aspects of the same. We're on the Mississippi. You know, Memphis is a big transportation hub as we are. Memphis is actually a very nice city. Been there several times. The feds come in and TCB, get a little hint there, TCB, Memphis.
Yeah, they'll taking care of business. Right. That could be Elvis, or it could be, who was the guy from your era that sang a TCB song?
That would be Bachman Turner Overdrive, taking care of business.
Right? There we go, Brad.
Right. But, the mansion, Elvis lives in Memphis. But things get done. And I'm thinking to myself, nothing against the city police, but they just don't have enough of them. And when all of a sudden you swarm the area with a bunch of feds, because think about it, the criminals pretty much know the routines of the local police, but they don't know the routines of the feds. Get what I'm saying, John?
Yeah, I get exactly what you're saying. It would throw them off, right? It would put a monkey wrench in their criminal works.
Right. And they'd say, maybe we shouldn't be committing any crimes for a while, or maybe ever again would be the exact way we'd read that. But anyway, John, we're overtime again. Thank you for lining up the Catherine Hanaway. I appreciate that. And I will try to reach out to Mr. Farmer Dude and try to see what I can maybe work with him on the phone. I appreciate your advice on them. It quite honestly pissed me off because of the fact that, I just don't get the fact that you just tear into somebody's property. You go, who cares? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I get what you're saying. And you know what? It's natural for you to be emotional in the moment, but that guy was probably as anxious and hot-tempered about it as you are, and I bet cooler heads will prevail. And, Brad, I am also glad that you didn't brag about your high score when Catherine brought up Life of a Political Showgirl. You could have bragged about your high score that you got on the Catherine Hanaway quiz, but you chose to be humble and not brag, Brad, and that's great progress.
She knew about that. That's actually sort of funny. Okay, because you probably sent that to her, right? Isn't that what the deal? You sent that to her?
No, I think she probably reads your Facebook.
I don't think so, John.
She's one of the 7 people that watch your AI videos.
Right. And that good old farmer guy that I hired on the north side of the airport that did the video for John. Did you like his shirt? Wasn't his shirt cool, John? Did you see that?
Yeah, I was so busy cringing that I didn't take any details other than the melting canola and weeds.
John, say goodbye.
See you tomorrow, Brad.